Hints of what's to come in The Last of Us Season 2, PS5 Pro rumors starting to swirl, and Resident Evil 4 Remake is swimming in tens. Apparently it's a masterpiece.
Temperance, child.
First up, we're talking about Resident Evil 4 Remake and how the review embargo has dropped and it's getting glowing reviews across the board. All of the major outlets are chiming in, wanting to say their piece on this new rendition of a classic, and the writing's on the walls. If we take a look at Metacritic, it's sitting at a whopping 93%, with only 2 mixed reviews and no negative reviews, and every other review is positive. Some of the biggest outlets are all giving this game perfect 10s, which is absolutely crazy. Sites like Push Square, Easy Allies, IGN, and even GameSpot. It looks as though Capcom has learned their lesson with Resident Evil 3 Remake and didn't make the same mistakes that it made with that game by cutting any significant content that fans would be expecting. This time, the entire game is there, albeit a bit remixed, and it's praised for including all of the goofiness and all of the locations and all of the content from the original, while also bringing it a little more up to date with the aesthetics and bringing in more of a horror vibe in general. This one drops on March 24th, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. As a longtime survival horror fan, I'm super stoked for Resident Evil 4, and I'm absolutely going to grab it on launch day. Are you going to grab it too? Let me know in the comments below. Next up, we're talking about some brand new PS5 Pro rumors that have been circulating lately. The hints and rumors that some serious insiders have dropped suggest that it's going to come out in the fall of 2024, and more than likely the new PS5 Pro model is going to have a detachable disk drive that you can buy separately. This should keep costs down for Sony, that way they can sell the PS5 Pro at less of a cost than they normally would, and then allow people to buy their disk drives separately if they really insist on having physical media. It's actually kind of a smart move. With all the delays that we've seen because of COVID, I actually kind of wonder if this generation is going to last longer than normal. Usually every generation of PlayStation systems lasts about 7 years. I'm almost thinking this one will last 8. The PS4 Pro came out 3 years after the PS4, and this PS5 Pro supposedly will be coming out 4 years after the PS5, which is a year later. It'll be interesting to see if we get any official confirmation from Sony on this anytime soon. My guess is probably around E3. Moving on, we have some news about The Last of Us Season 2 on HBO. Now, I don't know how you guys personally feel about this show, but for me, it was absolutely incredible. They had the perfect balance of adapting the content from the video game and staying true to the original, while also expanding upon certain elements and shedding light on certain other story elements that we didn't get to see in the game. Speaking on the official HBO podcast, Neil Druckman and Craig Mazin both chimed in on what we can expect for the second season. To quote Neil Druckman, "You can expect us to repeat the same process, which is we will look at what made the story special and what is the soul of that story, and that needs to remain intact. And then the moment-to-moment beats and the characters, they might stay the same, they might change. We will do what needs to happen in that story as it transfers from one medium to another." Mazin chimed in with, "And we will also take advantage of the freedom we have in television that wasn't in the game, specifically the advantage of changing perspective, and we will use what we can use in a new medium to tell that story, and we will go through the same process of adaptation, and there will be Pedro, and there will be Bella, and there will be blood." Now, what I get out of this is, because you're not tasked with taking control of a main character like in a game, they're going to be able to bounce back and forth between Abby and Ellie's story as the show goes on right from episode 1. We're going to get all of the backstory, and I feel like if they approach it this way, not only will people probably grow to like Abby in a little bit more of an organic way, but they can also keep that big story beat that most people cringe about from happening until the end of season 2. And then season 3 can be the entire trek to Seattle and everything that happens there. This would make sure that their key actors are in place for the entirety of Season 2 before you know what happens to you know who, and I think it makes all the sense in the world. In a very recent tweet from Neil Druckman on his Twitter, he mentioned that there's no HBO episode tonight because the series is over, which we're all bummed out about, but he assures us Season 2 is underway, and he hints at what's coming with a poster, and we know who it is. I couldn't be more excited to see what happens with Season 2. I think they're going to absolutely nail it, and they're not going to change those key story beats no matter how much you hate them. And personally, I think that's a good thing.
I'll walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2 are some of my favorite games of all time, and I'm super excited to see where the show goes and how it gets there. Are you interested in the Last of Us TV show? Let me know. Next up, we're talking about what's coming next for PS Plus. Now, first of all, we have a new day and date game that's coming out on PS Plus at the Essential level for free on release. This is happening on April 4th, and this game is called Meet Your Maker. I was very on the fence about this game when it was announced. It looks like it could be cool being able to design your own dungeons, basically, your own fortresses with traps and beasts to guard them, and set it up in a way that makes it difficult for opponents to navigate and defeat. And then you also take on the role as someone in the first-person shooter perspective that delves into other players' dungeons and tries to defeat them. Didn't really want to drop money on it because I was so unsure about what this game would look like when the dust settled. But knowing that it's free for PS Plus Essential means we can all dive in, check it out, and if it doesn't end up that great, we didn't lose anything. But if it ends up being amazing, the player base is going to have so many more people in it, so many more people to interact with, to play against, to play with, and that will help the game be successful. And speaking of PS Plus, the extra tier game catalog is getting a bunch of additions on March 21st, which is right around the corner. There's a bunch of games coming, but most notable is Uncharted Legacy of Thieves Collection, Rainbow Six Extraction, Immortals Phoenix Rising, Dragon Ball Z, and Ghostwire Tokyo. Not only that, but we're getting Chia, which is another day and date release that you can play the day it comes out without any additional cost as long as you're subscribed to the extra tier for PlayStation Plus. When they first announced the extra and premium tiers for PS Plus, I was a bit more than worried, as were most of you. It didn't seem to offer quite enough to really be worth it or to compete with Xbox's Game Pass. And even though I feel like it still doesn't necessarily compete with Game Pass in the ways that Game Pass is good, we're starting to see the library really expand and include a number of great games and be a great value for PlayStation owners. If you look at the past entries and the past updates that we've gotten for the extra tier over the last few months, the library has just been expanding in truly meaningful ways, and it's been great to really see this service come into its own. Last but not least, we have a reminder here that the Diablo 4 open beta is right around the corner. Now, this is happening next weekend, the weekend of March 24th, 25th, and 26th, and it's open to everybody. This past weekend, there was just recently an open beta just specifically for people that pre-ordered, so some people have gotten their first taste of this game already, and it seems like the consensus is that this is everything they wanted from Diablo 4. Going back to its roots, bringing more of the Diablo 2 vibe with it, while implementing some of the mechanical advantages that they created for Diablo 3, and kind of getting the best of both worlds with a package that's aesthetically up to date with current gen. I didn't get a chance to check out the beta that happened this past weekend for pre-orders, but next weekend you absolutely better believe I'll be there for the open beta. This has been Everything Awesome for Monday, March 20th, 2023. Are you looking forward to playing the Diablo Open Beta? If so, leave me a comment below, let me know. Maybe we can even play together. I'm looking forward to The Last of Us Season 2, and I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's a good time to be alive. Thanks so much for checking out my channel. We're working hard to get to 2,000 subscribers now because we blew right past 1,000. So make sure you like and subscribe. Also, if you'd like more magic deck text, that's somewhere over there. And if you'd like to see what else the channel's been up to lately, that's somewhere over there. Also, subscribe, circle below, do all the things.